My name is Adam Whitaker. I'm 42 years old. A number that quietly sneaks up on you when you're not looking. It's the kind of age where you start glancing at your life and wondering if everything turned out the way it was supposed to. I live in a quiet suburb just outside Chicago, in a home that's too tidy and a life that's too quiet. I work as a senior accountant at a corporate law firm, Brooks, Tyler and Crane. The kind of place where ambition goes to suffocate under fluorescent lights. Spreadsheets are my daily companions. Neatly organized numbers. Predictable, logical, emotionless. Just the way I used to like things. But behind every number, behind every balanced account and color-coded tab, there was another story, one I never told anyone. Not even my wife. Especially not my wife. Her name is Emma. 41 years old. A powerhouse in heels. She's everything I'm not: fearless, decisive, loud in the way only someone who knows they're right can be. She runs her own executive consulting firm and has clients that include CEOs, politicians, and startups you've probably seen on magazine covers. Emma doesn't ask for attention. She commands it. Where I was hesitant, she was bold. Where I avoided conflict, she thrived on it. And in our marriage, that dynamic worked for a while. People assumed I wore the pants in the relationship. They couldn't have been more wrong. Emma was always in control, even when she let me believe otherwise. But there's something else people didn't know. Something she didn't know. At least not then. Something I buried deep for years. I liked wearing women's clothes. There, I said it. Not just liked. Needed. It was never just about fabric or fit. It was about how it made me feel.
Soft.
Safe.
Seen.
It started when I was a teenager. I'd try on my sister's clothes when no one was home. Just for a few minutes. Just to feel different. Not better. Just not me. I stopped after college. Life took over. Marriage. Mortgage. Deadlines. But the urge never left. When Emma started traveling for work, sometimes for days at a time, the old habit came back. Slowly. Carefully. A dab of her perfume.
A blouse.
Then eventually full outfits. Makeup.
Heels.
I'd look in the mirror and see someone else. Someone I didn't fully understand, but someone who made my heart beat in a way it never did in a boardroom. Her name, at least the name I gave her, was Allison. She was everything I wasn't. Graceful, confident, vibrant. I never told Emma. I never told anyone. I convinced myself it was just a harmless outlet. Something private. Temporary. But I was wrong. Nothing about this was temporary. And Emma? She was about to change everything. It started subtly. Emma wasn't stupid. She noticed things. She always did. One night, she looked at me a little too long while I was folding laundry. "Those jeans," she said. "They're mine, aren't they?" I froze. My fingers clutched the fabric like it had burned me. I opened my mouth to deny it but couldn't lie fast enough. She didn't press. She just walked off. Another time, she held up a lipstick from her drawer. "This shade, it's worn down. I haven't used this one in months." I shrugged. Played dumb. She stared, then said nothing. But the air between us shifted. The silence was louder, heavier. I started locking the bathroom door, triple-checking closets before and after, deleting search history, hiding wigs behind ceiling panels. Every session felt like walking a tightrope above a fire. And the fire was her finding out. Until one night she did. And instead of reacting the way I feared, she did something far worse. She smiled. I'll never forget that night. It was a Thursday. Rainy. She was late getting home. I was in the bedroom, not dressed up. Not that time, but thinking about it. She walked in, soaked from the storm. Her umbrella collapsed. Her heels clicking across hardwood. "Adam," she said calmly, removing her coat. "We need to talk." That phrase, "we need to talk," hits harder than a slap when you're hiding something. She sat on the edge of the bed, her eyes fixed on mine.
Calm. Too calm.
"I know what you've been doing when I'm gone." Silence. I've known for a while. More silence. I'm not angry.
What?
I'm intrigued. That's when she leaned in, brushing a raindrop off my cheek. "I think we should try something new."
A shift.
You've spent years trying to hide this part of you, and I've spent years pretending not to notice. But maybe that part of you isn't something to be ashamed of. I blinked. What are you saying? I asked. She tilted her head. I want to help you, but on my terms. A beat. What terms? I whispered. She stood. You'll see. The next morning, Emma handed me an envelope. Inside were 3 pieces of paper.
Typed.
Bullet pointed. Her rules. 1. I would stop hiding. No more secrecy. 2. She would control when and how I dressed. 3. I would obey fully during sessions. 4. Outside of those, I could be Adam, but never without her permission. I looked up at her, stunned. This is insane, I said. She folded her arms. So is living a lie? But this isn't just play for you? No, she said flatly. It's a project, and you're mine to transform. That was the beginning of everything. The first time she dressed me was unlike anything I had done alone. She was precise, surgical. She picked out a soft lavender dress, nude stockings, a pair of vintage pearl earrings. She didn't speak much. She guided, instructed, commanded. Stand straighter. Smile softer. Look at yourself in the mirror. And when I did, I didn't see Adam anymore. I saw her. Allison. But this time Emma saw her too. You look beautiful, she whispered behind me. Not mockingly. Not sarcastically. Proudly. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just about clothes anymore. This was about power. The weeks that followed were a blur of mascara, uncertainty, and shifting tides. Emma began asserting control in ways I hadn't expected. She made decisions about my wardrobe, my schedule, even my meals. She suggested I grow my hair longer. She removed my razor from the bathroom. She began calling me she during our private evenings. And, oddly enough, it thrilled me.
But it also terrified me.
Because the more she led, the more I followed. The more I wore heels, the more I felt my old self slipping. And maybe I didn't mind. Emma no longer waited for permission. She gave instructions and I followed. Not because she demanded it, because a part of me wanted to. There was something addictive in the way she looked at me now. Like I was a blank canvas she could paint. Like she saw something in me I had buried too deep to even name. She began buying clothes not for herself, but for me. Panties in soft pastels. Bralettes with delicate lace. Skirts that flared at the hips. Shoes with just the right arch to challenge my balance. And she'd say things like, "You walk better in heels than most women I know."
Or,
"Next time, maybe we try a corset." I laughed nervously the first time, but the second time I didn't. The third time, I said, "Yes, ma'am." That's when she started calling me ally.
ally.
A soft, simple version of Allison. And each time she said it, something inside me melted and something else tightened. There was one night that shifted everything. She came home from a women's leadership conference dressed in a crisp navy pantsuit, her hair tied back, boots clicking on the tile. "Strip," she said as she entered the bedroom. I blinked. "What?" "No more Adam tonight," she said. "I want ally." I hesitated. She stepped closer, slowly, her eyes locked to mine. "You want this," she whispered. "Don't pretend anymore." And I couldn't. I undressed. She handed me new lingerie, expensive. Black lace. I slipped into it, trembling. Then came the skirt.
The blouse.
She applied my makeup herself that night.
Carefully.
With intention. And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see someone pretending. I saw someone becoming. And she did too. That night, she didn't just lead. She owned me. And for the first time in my life, I let go of the need to control, and it was the most freeing thing I'd ever felt. It was a Sunday afternoon. Emma was upstairs, coaching me on how to move my hips and heels. I had on a blue wrap dress and sheer stockings. We were laughing, really laughing, until… ding dong. The doorbell. We froze. Emma peeked through the blinds. "It's your sister." My blood turned to ice. I scrambled. wobbling in the heels, nearly tripping over the rug as I tried to run upstairs. But she stopped me. Don't panic. Upstairs.
Now.
I'll handle her. I hid in the bedroom closet, heart pounding like a jackhammer, makeup still smeared on my face. Emma entertained her in the living room calmly, confidently, asking questions and steering conversation like nothing was wrong. I heard footsteps on the stairs. A door creaked open, then silence. And then she left. When Emma opened the closet door, I nearly collapsed into her arms.
She didn't scold me.
She smiled. That, she said, is why we follow the rules. Emma became my trainer, my mentor, my mirror. She taught me how to walk, how to sit, how to talk softer, slower. How to own your femininity, she said. She adjusted my posture constantly. Back straighter. Chest forward. Keep your chin level. She even made me practice speaking as ally every night for 15 minutes. And she gave me homework. Write a diary, she said, in ally's voice. Explore her thoughts. And I did. At first it was awkward. But over time, ally began to speak back. The diary wasn't just an assignment. It was becoming me. We were out shopping. Not as a couple, but as two women. Emma said we'd try it just once. In a different part of the city. Somewhere quiet. Safe. I was terrified. But I trusted her. I wore a long coat over a burgundy dress. My hair now grown to chin-length framed my face with soft waves. We walked slowly, hand in hand. Emma spoke to me as ally in public. Used she and her. And no one blinked. No one stared. No one laughed. That night, we had wine on the couch. She held my hand and whispered, "See? This is real. You're real."
And I cried.
Because for the first time, I believed her. But something had shifted in Emma too. The more I became ally, the more she changed. She started dressing differently.
Sharper.
More masculine. She stopped wearing dresses. She took the head of the table when guests came over. She made decisions without asking me. And one day I noticed her shaving less. Wearing cologne instead of perfume. "I'm becoming who I've always been," she told me. "You inspired me." I asked what that meant. She leaned in, lips brushing my ear. "It means you're not the only one transforming." New rules appeared on the fridge. Printed. Numbered. 1. Ally is to be present at least 3 days a week. 2. Emma chooses those days. 3. Ally must speak only in her voice while dressed. 4. Ally may not initiate intimacy. 5. All outfits must be approved. 6. If Emma says stop, ally stops everything. And the most terrifying one, 7. Adam may not interfere with Emma's transformation. That last line haunted me, because I didn't know what she was transforming into. And I wasn't sure I wanted to. It was late. Emma sat across from me in a fitted black button-down and slacks. No makeup. No earrings. Just calm, masculine energy. "I think it's time we say goodbye to Adam," she said. I swallowed hard. What do you mean?" She walked over, knelt in front of me, and took my hands. "You've become so much more than him. And I've become someone stronger too." Her fingers brushed my cheek. "Let's stop pretending. Let's live this truth. Together." And I couldn't argue, because a part of me had already let Adam go. And what remained was ally. There was no ceremony. No final goodbye. Just quiet acceptance. Emma stopped calling me Adam completely at home. It was ally morning, noon, and night. She replaced all my boxers with panties. Burned the rest. My suits?
Gone.
Donated. In their place. Skirts, blouses, lingerie, all handpicked by her. I started working remotely. Company restructuring, she told my firm. She handled it. I didn't even argue. What surprised me most wasn't how quickly things changed.
It was how quickly I adapted.
Or maybe how quickly ally took over. One morning, Emma walked me into what used to be our guest room. The walls had been painted a soft cream. A full-length mirror stood in the corner. Racks of clothing, heels neatly arranged, drawers labeled. On the vanity sat foundation, blush, mascara, lip gloss.
This is yours now, she said.
Your space. It felt like a dream. But dreams come with cost.
She turned to me.
Starting today, we're on a schedule. I blinked. A schedule? Yes, she said. Morning, yoga and leggings. Afternoon, light makeup and chores. Evenings, full transformation. I'll approve every outfit. I was no longer dressing for myself. I was performing for her. And somehow,
I didn't mind.
One challenge remained. My voice. Emma didn't like when Ally spoke in Adam's tone. So we trained. Higher.
Softer.
Let it float, she'd say, correcting me constantly. She made me read poetry aloud. Mimic actresses. Repeat dialogue from romantic films. Your ally. Not acting like her. Being her. After weeks of practice, something strange happened. The voice started to feel natural. And when I called her sir in Ally's voice for the first time, unplanned, she froze. Then smiled. Good girl, she said. And I blushed deeper than ever before. Emma pushed boundaries like a strategist. She took me to dinner one night as Ally. In a dim-lit cafe outside the city. She ordered for both of us. Called me she throughout the evening. No one stared. No one questioned. Until the server returned with the check and looked at me twice. You two look lovely tonight, she said. I froze. Emma didn't. She's gorgeous, isn't she? She replied, locking eyes with the server. And just like that it was over. No drama. Just acceptance. That night in the car I asked, what if someone had known? She shrugged. Let them. And for once, I agreed. Emma changed too, and not just in wardrobe. She began calling herself Em around friends. She started wearing binders under her clothes. Lowered her voice deliberately when speaking to strangers. And the bedroom? That became her domain completely. I was Ally, soft and open. She was Em, firm, dominant, patient, and deeply masculine. Our roles had flipped, and neither of us wanted it reversed. Then came the unexpected twist. Sarah, Emma's best friend, announced a surprise weekend visit. I panicked. Emma, she can't see me like this. She won't, Emma said calmly, because Ally won't be home. I frowned. What do you mean? She smirked. Ally goes away. Adam returns. For the weekend. My chest tightened. Put Ally away? After all this? But I obeyed. I trimmed the polish off my nails. Wore jeans. Spoke deeper. It felt wrong.
Heavy.
Empty. Sarah stayed 2 days. And on the third morning, I broke down in the bathroom. Looking into the mirror, I whispered, I miss me. And Emma, who had been standing outside, opened the door quietly and said, I do too. The moment Sarah left, Emma helped me out of the boy clothes. She brushed my wig, applied my mascara, zipped up my dress. And when I looked into the mirror again, Ally smiled. Not Adam. Ally. And Emma said, she was always there. She never left. That night, she kissed my hand and said, you're mine. And I whispered back, yes, sir. Things went further after that. Emma took a photo of me fully dressed. Then another. Then a full set. She printed one. Framed it. Placed it on her desk in her home office. I gasped. What if someone sees it?
They will, she said.
Eventually. That night, I couldn't sleep. But I also couldn't stop looking at that photo. Because I looked happy. I had a dream one night. I was standing in front of a mirror, half dressed in a suit, half in a gown. Behind me stood two Emmas, one in heels, one in a suit. They both whispered the same thing. Choose. When I woke up, I knew. Adam was a mask I had worn for years. Ally was who I had always been underneath. But even in our new world, tension crept in. Emma wanted full control. I started resisting small things. One night, I wore an outfit she hadn't chosen. She didn't speak to me all evening. The silence was deafening. That night, she sat me down. If you want to keep control, you can have it, she said. But if you want us the real us, then you let me lead. It was a test.
And I passed.
By saying nothing and handing her the collar. It happened on a quiet Tuesday. I was home alone, dressed casually in a flowy skirt and blouse. Heels on, practicing my walk again. The doorbell rang. I panicked, ran to change, and in the rush, one heel broke. I fell, twisted my ankle. When Emma returned, she found me crying on the floor, dress torn, makeup smudged.
She didn't scold me. She held me.
Ally, she whispered. You don't have to be perfect. Just be mine. Then came the voicemail.
From my old job.
Adam, we have a role opening. We'd love to bring you in part-time. Let us know. I stared at the phone for hours. Emma found me holding it. She didn't say no. She simply said, "Are you ready to become him again?" And my silence gave her the answer. Emma found me a new role. Volunteer coordinator at a local charity. No one there knew Adam.
They only met Ally.
And they loved her. That was the first time I heard someone say, "You're such a lovely woman." And I didn't flinch. I smiled. Because it was finally true. Living as Ally was no longer a performance. It was who I was full-time, full soul. But something inside me still carried traces of Adam, not the clothes, not the voice, but the hesitations. The little voices asking, what if you're discovered? What if Emma changes her mind? And then there was Emma, or M, as she now preferred. She had leaned hard into masculinity. Her wardrobe had flipped. Her mannerisms.
Even her speech.
She didn't just allow my transformation. She fed off it.
And it was starting to show.
Emma took me to a networking event. She was invited as a speaker. I came along as her partner. Not wife. Not husband.
Partner.
I wore a navy dress with sheer sleeves. Heels. Pearl earrings. Hair curled. No one questioned it. Until someone did. A man approached us during cocktail hour. Older, confident. Looked at me just a second too long.
You're stunning, he said. Model.
Emma answered before I could. She's mine. There was a flicker in his eyes, surprise, then acceptance, then understanding. I looked at Emma. She didn't blink. That was the first night she kissed me in public. And I kissed her back. A few weeks later, Em sat me down. She poured whiskey into a glass and said, "I've been talking to someone." My heart dropped. Who? A coach. For gender exploration. I stared. "I think I'm non-binary," she said. Leaning masculine. Maybe trans-masc.
I don't know yet.
The floor beneath me felt like it shifted. "But I'm sure of this," she added. "I love you. As you are. And I love who I am becoming." I nodded slowly. Because I understood. Better than anyone. One Saturday, Em left to run errands. I stayed home in full Ally mode robe, makeup half done, coffee in hand. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps on the door. I peeked through the curtain. My brother. I froze. We hadn't spoken in a year. I couldn't answer. I couldn't hide fast enough. He knocked again. And then slipped a note under the door. "I forgive you. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm here." I sank to the floor, trembling. And found me there an hour later. She picked up the note. Read it. Then hugged me tighter than she ever had. Even in power, there is fear. I started feeling small again. Was this all real? Would it vanish if I blinked too hard? Was I performing or finally living? Em noticed. She always did. She took me to a quiet place by the lake. We sat under a tree, wind curling through our clothes. "You're not pretending," she said. "You're blossoming." I didn't answer. So she leaned in. "Say it." I whispered. "I'm Ally." She nodded. "Say it again." Louder this time. "I'm Ally." And just like that, the fear loosened. One night, alone, I walked past our hallway mirror and paused. I stared. No makeup. Wig off.
Hoodie. Sweatpants.
Was I still Ally? I didn't look like her. I didn't feel like her. For the first time in months, I saw Adam again. And I panicked. Em returned to find the mirror shattered on the floor. She didn't yell. She just sat beside me, sweeping glass into a pile with her hand, silently bleeding. "Ally isn't what you wear," she said. "She's what you are." I nodded through tears and bandaged her hand myself. The charity I volunteered at offered me a full-time position. They scheduled an in-person interview with board members, in suits, in expectations. I had a choice: go as ally or revert for safety. I chose ally. I wore a smart burgundy blazer over a pencil skirt, loafers, gloss, not lipstick, minimalist and proud. I walked in expecting fear. Instead, I was greeted with smiles and handshakes, and "We're lucky to have someone like you." We had 1 week to prepare. M's parents, retired military and conservative, were visiting for the first time in years. "I'll play Adam," I offered. M shook her head.
No.
"They meet us as we are." I swallowed. "They won't understand."
She smirked.
"Then we teach them." The visit began with silence, then whispers, then questions. And finally, on the third night, her father said, "You've got courage, kid. Both of you." It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't rejection either. And for now, that was enough. As Ally grew more confident, M became more intense. She gave me commands even in public. "Stand there. Smile this way. Speak slower." I didn't resist, but I noticed it. One night I asked, "Do you love Ally more because she obeys?" She paused.
No.
"I love her because she's free. But freedom includes surrender when it's chosen." And I knew I was choosing this. Every day. It was over dinner. A simple disagreement about my voice slipping into Adam's register. She snapped. I snapped back. Then silence. Long and sharp. We didn't speak for 48 hours. She slept in her office. I slept in Ally's room. And it felt like two separate worlds again. Then came a note on my pillow. "I miss you. Come back." I wrote under it, "Only if you do too." And the door between us opened again. Spring came, and so did change. I started speaking at small events. Ally, the trans femme volunteer. I shared my story, held space for others, helped kids coming out to parents who didn't understand. And M stood in the back of every room, arms crossed, proud. We were no longer just lovers. We were a team, a symbol, an answer to a question no one had dared to ask. The bathroom mirror no longer haunted me. I stood before it one morning. No makeup, just skin. And I smiled, because I still saw her. I always had. One night, I found something on our bed. A small box. Inside, a silver chain with a delicate A pendant. On the tag, "For the woman you've always been." And beneath it, a note. "Forever mine. Forever Ally."
M.
I put it on. It never came off again. It came in the form of a DM. No name. No photo. Just 4 words. "She's not who you think." I stared at it for minutes, hands shaking. M? But how? Had she done something? Was she hiding something? I showed her the message. She smiled almost too calmly. "I expected that eventually," she said. "What does it mean?"
She poured tea.
"It means someone's watching. But not everyone watching is dangerous." She didn't explain, and I didn't ask. But that night, I checked the locks twice before bed. One afternoon, I was cleaning M's office while she was out. She never let me in there much. But the shelves were dusty. I figured she'd appreciate it. I found a drawer unlocked. Inside, a red folder. Labeled, "Ally." My heart stopped. I opened it. Photos.
Notes.
Even voice memos. All about me. Some from years ago. She noticed everything, I whispered. Even before I told her. Before I admitted anything. She had been studying me. Was it love or control? That night, I said nothing. But I dreamed of cages. Beautiful ones, made of silk and lipstick. My brother came again. This time, I opened the door. "As Ally." There was a long silence. Then he said, "You look like Mom." I burst into tears. He hugged me tightly. "I don't get it all. But I love you." It was the first time I felt seen by someone from my past. M came home later. I told her. And for the first time, she looked jealous. M's calm was part of her power, but it began to crack. She grew more controlling, corrected my voice mid-sentence, told me which friends I could talk to. And when I pushed back, she'd go cold distant. I asked her one night, "Are you afraid of losing me?" She answered, "No. I'm afraid of you losing yourself." But I wasn't sure who was who anymore. For the first time in months, I picked my own outfit. Soft green dress. My favorite. I did my own makeup. Simple. Not perfect. When Em saw me, she froze. "You didn't ask," she said. "I didn't need to," I replied. Silence. Then she nodded. "You're finally becoming her. Not my version. Yours." I found a hidden account on M's tablet. Messages. Long threads.
Flirty.
Sometimes more. To someone named Jay. I confronted her. She didn't deny it. "We're just exploring ideas," she said. "About who we are." Together?
No.
Separately. I felt like the floor gave way. She had encouraged my transformation. But had she been drifting while I was surrendering? It was loud. Ugly. "I gave you everything," I shouted. "You gave me what I shaped," she screamed back. I thought this was love. It was. Maybe it still is. But we don't know who we are anymore. That night, I slept in the guest room. And for the first time, I dreamed of Adam. But he didn't speak. He just watched. While Ally cried in the mirror. We tried therapy. Together. Em admitted she used control as safety. I admitted I had used submission to avoid decisions. The therapist said, "You're both transforming," and scared the other might outgrow you. That hit hard. We left holding hands. But something still felt unresolved. At a gala, someone recognized Em and called her by her old name. She stiffened. I held her hand. "It's okay." But she yanked it away. "I'm not her anymore," she snapped. People stared. I pulled her aside. "You taught me grace. Use it now." She looked at me, really looked, and whispered, "I don't know who I am without controlling you." 1 week apart. That was the agreement. No texts. No calls. Just space. I returned to jeans and a t-shirt. Then changed into a dress. Then back again. I didn't know what felt right anymore. But on the 7th day, she came back. No suit.
No tie.
Just her. She knelt beside me. No orders. No rules. Just tears. "I miss us." We rewrote the rules. Together. 1. Ally decides when she's herself. 2. Em leads only when invited. 3. Honesty above control. 4. No secrets. 5. We grow side by side. Not over each other. We signed it.
And kissed.
For the first time in months, not as master and subject, but as equals. I started a blog. Anonymously. Tales of Ally. It gained traction. People connected. One night, Em asked, "Are you ready to be known?" I froze. Because fame meant discovery. Risk. But it also meant freedom. "Yes," I said. And the next morning, I posted a selfie. No filter. No mask.
Just me.
And captioned it,
"My name is Ally."
and I finally see her. The response wasn't all love. Hate came too.
Comments.
DMs. Even threats. I locked myself in the room.
And brought tea.
And a folder. Inside, thousands of printed positive comments. "You don't drown in storms," she whispered. "You rise." I cried into her chest. Because I finally believed her. 1 year later.
New job.
New life. We're still together. Not perfect, but honest. Sometimes I wear jeans. Sometimes gowns. Sometimes Em wears heels. Sometimes a binder. We don't define us. We live us. People ask what we are. We say, human. One morning, I found a note from Em.
Short.
"Gone to think. Back soon. Don't wait." No call. No reply. And the sun kept rising. I waited.
Hours.
Then days. And whispered to my reflection. If you never come back, I'm still me. The house was too quiet. M's note sat on the kitchen counter. Gone to think. Back soon. Don't wait. But I was waiting. 2 days had passed. I checked her drawer, her things were still there. No toothbrush missing. But something told me she wasn't just out. She was processing. And I didn't know if she'd come back the same. Or at all. I reopened old journals. One from before M and I began this journey. I read Adam's handwriting. I feel invisible. Like I'm not even real. And then I opened Ally's journal. I feel too seen. Like I'm only real when someone's watching. Somewhere in between those pages was the truth. Not Adam. Not Ally. Just me. M had left behind her recorder. I clicked play. Her voice. Soft. Tired. I don't know who I am when I'm not defining Ally. And I'm scared that I used your transformation to hide from my own. I never meant to control you. I meant to help you fly. But maybe I forgot to grow wings myself. I pressed stop. My chest ached. She hadn't left because of me. She left because of her. I posted one last blog entry. Titled, "To the One Who Let Me Become." I shared everything. From boxers to blush. From fear to freedom. And I signed my real name, Ally Emerson. It went viral overnight. People messaged. Some hateful, but most grateful. You gave me words I didn't have. Because of you, I told my wife who I really am. Because of you, I started living. And still no word from M. A call came from a major online network. They wanted to produce the blog into a docuseries. Me. My story. They asked, "Can we talk to your partner too?" I laughed. I don't know where she is. But I said yes. Not for the fame. For the truth. It was midnight. Rain tapping the windows. I was brushing my wig when I heard the knock. I knew it was her. Even before I opened the door. She stood there soaked, eyes red, holding a bag. "I'm not who I thought I was," she said. "But I do know who I love." She looked down. "If you'll have me, as whoever I become next." I stepped back, opened the door, and whispered, "Only if you'll have me." We didn't define it anymore. Some days she was M. Some days Emma. Some days I was Ally in full bloom. Some days a mixture of both. We kissed without rules. Touched without scripts. Dressed for ourselves, not each other. And for the first time, we didn't care who watched. At the docuseries launch, they asked me to speak. The room was full. Cameras everywhere. M stood in the back smiling. I looked into the crowd and said, "I spent years trying to be the man I thought my wife needed, and then the woman I thought she shaped. But somewhere in that chaos I met myself. And she wasn't either. Or both. She just was. And that's enough." Silence. Then standing ovation. I saw people crying. Not because I was strong, but because they saw themselves. That night, M and I walked home hand in hand. The city lights flickered. Then her phone buzzed. She stopped walking. Froze. Her face went pale. I stepped closer. "What is it?" She turned the screen toward me. A message. From Jay. 3 words. "I'm outside." My blood ran cold. "Do you want me to come in?" It added. M looked at me. Then at the door. I asked, "Is this over?" She said nothing. Just stared. And I whispered, "Then go see. But know this. I won't wait again." To be continued. Speech balloon, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Was Ally right to let her go again? Would you have done the same? Or should she have fought for her? Let us know and get ready for part 2 because this story is far from over.